it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. Thank you very much indeed for watching me again today. This is another in my series on our ink pads, and today I'm going to look at Stazon. Stazon is a solvent-based ink. It, as far as we're concerned, comes in jet black. I'm going to be using the same Illuminated Christmas stamp set in red rubber, and this is a Clearmount red rubber stamp. I wanted to be consistent with all my videos, so we're using red rubber again. So what do we use Stazon for? Stazon is, it says, it's acid-free, archival, fast-drying solvent ink, appropriate for all surfaces, designed especially for use on plastic, metal, glass, ceramic, laminated paper, coated paper and leather. Not recommended for fabric. There is a rumour going around with some of our demonstrators that it's great for fabric. It's not. Don't ask me why, but they do not recommend it for fabric, so let's take their recommendation. It's made by a company called Sukaniko, who are very well known for their inks. If they say it's not suitable for or not recommended for fabric, it's not recommended for fabric. So it does on non-porous surfaces, so we'll come on to what I mean by a non-porous surface. It does take a wee while to dry, but otherwise it's actually really quite quick to dry. It smells of pear drops. It's that kind of slightly sweet almond smell. It comes in a very tightly sealed with a very tightly sealed lid, and then it's got this inner lid. Let me see if I can get it out without getting my fingers covered in ink. And it does actually say on it, in embossed, do not discard. Cover inner, protective inner cover. So basically what it's saying is when you're not using your ink, put this back on. Because it's a solvent, it will evaporate. The solvent itself will evaporate, so it'll leave the black, but it will take away what's moving the black around. You can get a re-inker, and as I have said previously, I would always recommend getting the re-inker when you get the ink pad, so that when you need it, you've got it, and you don't have to go hunting around for it. So, what would we use our Stazon for? Well, first of all, let's use our Stazon. So, Whisper White. It's very similar in pad to the Memento ink pad, so it's a firm ink pad rather than the foam that we use for our classic. So you can do, bouncing rather than tapping. Ink up, straight down, let it transfer, back up again, and you do get a really crisp finish. It's a really, what I would call a black, so it is a super black finish, and it dries on ordinary card really quickly. If you're looking at doing it on coloured cardstock, again, and we're using Blushing Bride again, perfectly fine. Then we've got Shimmer, and again, perfectly fine. Now we have got our usual problem with the watercolour, in that the watercolour paper is textured, but this is actually the paper I would probably use it on most frequently. So your Stamparatus would be your absolute friend for this, so that if you don't get a crisp image, you can just re-ink and then stamp again. But if you press reasonably firmly and hold it in place for a reasonable length of time, then you will get a crisp image, as I have here. Then we have Window Sheet. Now, Window Sheet with classic ink or Memento ink, because they're a water-based ink, it will never dry. Don't even think about it, it will never dry. But Stazon, this is a non-porous surface. Now, the thing with Stazon is, with Window Sheet, it's slippery, so do bear that in mind. You're trying to put something wet on something slippery. So, ooh, I've slipped. Yep, I've not only slipped, I've not stamped terribly well. But we have a solution to that. if you get your Stazon cleaner, and this is a very old bottle of cleaner that I've had forever and a day, you can just put some cleaner on your window sheet, get a piece of kitchen towel and wipe it away. So you can actually, and you can do that even when the ink is dry, it will just lift it off. So let's try that again. I'll use the other end just in case this end is still a bit cleaner-ish. So I've skidded again. Again, your Stamparatus would be your friend for this, because your Stamparatus won't skid. See, skidded. Let's see if I can do it without skidding. Apparently not. A better impression, apart from the fact I missed it, but you get the idea. So there we are. We can stamp on window sheet. Now that will take 5 minutes or so to dry. So whilst that's doing that, let's pop it to one side, and I will show you how to clean this, because it is quite important to get that right. You need your stamping cleaner. Well, you have no, you need your stamping cleaner. Because this has got a solvent on it, to leave the ink on your stamp, it's not going to do the stamp a huge amount of good, and I seriously would not use it on with photopolymer stamps. So I've got myself a nice clean wad of kitchen paper and my cleaner, and I'm just going to pounce that onto my stamp and then stamp it onto my wodge of kitchen paper and really try and get in there to get all of the ink out. You might need to apply it again just to be on the safe side, and if this piece of fabric at the top starts getting very dirty, you can just clean it on your wad of paper, so don't worry about that, and then just get in there and get rid of that. What I would then personally do, and it's one of the very, very, very rare occasions when I would suggest this, is grab a baby wipe, because you don't want Stazon cleaner on your stamp cleaner, either on your stamping chamois or on your stamping scrub. So get a baby wipe and take that cleaner fluid off. And then you can come in with your scrub, which I've already got sprayed, and clean and scrub. And you get your nice clean pad stamp. And because I've used the stamping mist, it's reconditioned the stamp, and I would generally give it a couple of sessions so I know it's really well cleaned off, because that solvent it's basically, you know, an astringent solvent. So nice clean stamp again. So whilst we've been doing that, everything has been drying. So here we have our piece of watercolour paper, and let me find a smaller aqua marker, and an aqua marker, and I can come in with my aqua marker, and let's make sure it's got lots of lovely water on it, and that ain't budging. That's not going anywhere. Again, with our shimmery white, not going anywhere, ordinary whisper white, and coloured cardstock. Of course, I wanted to leave some of that dry, so let's just get the water off. So, blender pen. Blender pen has a little bit of solvent in it. It's not a huge amount, but it does have a little bit, so you may find, it's not too bad, but you may find that it smudges, particularly when it's not fully dry. But it's okay. I think that was the dry end. There is a little bit of movement, but it's not too bad. if we come in with what I hope is now our dry window sheet, that's okay with the blender pen. Just keep that clean. It's going to be okay with the aqua marker. Probably not 100% wonderful with the blender pen. There we go. So let me get that cleaned off, because I don't really want black on my colour lifter, but it will clean off. So not great for blender pens, but there is the alternative side. So I stamped on the other side. What you can do, and what this is wonderful for, is get your blender pen and colour on the back. There was me thinking this was a nice dark colour. Let me find a darker colour. Let me go for Night of Navy. That's about as dark as I can get. So it will come out slightly paler on the window sheet, but you can colour the back. And I mean, I'm not doing it neatly at all, but you can colour the back, and then when you turn it over, you have your coloured image. Now you want to make sure you've got your lines nice and clean. This is just for, you know, for examples. So there you are. That is your Stazon. So great for anything that is wet and not alcohol. Not great with alcohol, but you can stamp it on a slick surface. So you could stamp it on our foil paper or our foil card. That would be really lovely. Let me see if I can grab a piece of that whilst it comes into my brain. Foil, foil, foil. Silver would be ideal. Well, there we are. That would be perfect. So there we are, a piece of silver foil. Of course, I've now cleaned my stamp, but never mind. So if I ink that up again, and again, we're on a slick surface. It's not quite as slick as the window sheet, but and hold that down, and you've got your, but you wouldn't be able to do that with either your classic ink or your Memento, because it wouldn't dry. So there you go. That is Stazon. So really great for slick surfaces and anything where you want to add a wet colour other than blends. Not good for blends. I hope you found that interesting and helpful. If you've got any questions or comments, anything at all, please either drop me an email. My email address is over on my website. You will find all my contact details there. There's my email address, there's my social media, in the About Me section, there's my postal address. It's all there. So if you want to contact me in any way, leave me a comment here on YouTube, below here, or over on my blog. I will have some more information on my blog about the Stazon Ink, and I hope you found that interesting and that you will come back soon for more about ink. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Bye!